What's up, crafters? How are you? Sorry for the lighting. I'm outside here. Let's see if I can get a little bit of light going here. That might be a little bit better. Um, yeah, it's an overcast day today. I am set up on location. I'm going to turn the camera here. Got a lot of my things set up here. That's just a few of the things. But I am set up on location, doing the selling again, crafting. Started working on something new. Yeah, it worked out. It turned out good, but yeah. Question: how many of you have worked with UV resin? Um, and if you have, what's been your reaction to it? How has it worked with you? Have you had issues with it being still tacky or sticky when you finish curing it? Have you had issues with it yellowing during curing process? And if you have, and if you have any suggestions for a better brand that doesn't do that, make sure to put that in the comments below and let me know. Yeah, I ordered some from Amazon, and the first batch was actually a kit that I ordered. It was like a starter kit for UV resin. That resin was absolutely great. Kind of loud out here today. That resin was actually really great. It dried crystal clear, was not tacky at all, very good quality. I ordered another bottle of it, the same resin, or so I thought. The bottle was identical. So I assumed it was the exact same resin. When I compared the bottles, they were the same resin, same manufacturer. But that bottle, having issues with it. Every time I go to cure the resin, it turns yellow while it's curing. And UV resin should not be doing that because it is, it's set for UV curing. It's supposed to be crystal clear when it advertises that, but that one unfortunately did not. So I went to Hobby Lobby and I purchased some UV resin from Hobby Lobby. Completely different brand. Brought that home, tried that one as well. At first it did not appear that it was going to have any problems. It was, it flowed very well. It had a nice quality to it, no air bubbles. I started curing it, and at first it looked like it was doing okay, and then before the curing process was finished, it started yellowing. Not as bad as the other one, but it started yellowing. So if you have any suggestions, if you have any ideas as to what might be causing that, other than just a bad quality resin, comment below and let me know. If you have a resin that you use, preferably from Amazon or somewhere, comment and let me know that as well. And let me see, I have some great ideas. I'm working on a lot of great project ideas, some new things with some little things to set up, as well as jewelry items and other resin craft ideas that I have in mind, but I want to make sure that I have a good quality resin. So, but yeah, set up today, slow day today, done good yesterday. Today is Saturday, the day before Mother's Day, so to all the mothers out there, hoping this video gets uploaded today, Saturday, but it may be uploaded on Mother's Day. But happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Done good. Sold a pretty good amount yesterday. On Friday, it was Mother's Day orders, and now I'm set up today here at the Raceway. Set up. It's one of the locations that the franchise owner here, he lets me set up out here. I set up about 1 day a week out here, and as long as I don't leave a mess and don't harass his customers, which I don't, I set off over to the side, and they are welcome to come check out what I got, but I'm not going to harass his customers and try to get them to come over. Yeah, today's a slow day though. I was expecting it to be a really busy day because there's a lot of events going on in town. That's the way it works when you're doing crafting and trying to do a craft business. But back to the resin. Yeah, if you have any ideas comment below and let me know what you think about it. And what do you think about doing the vlogging? It's been a few days since I've done any vlogging, about a week now. So I decided to hop on today and do another vlog. So hey, I might come back and give you an update on how things is going. So yeah, I'm gonna go see. It's starting to pick up a little bit here, so maybe some people are about to start coming in. I'll be back. Well, it picked up a little bit. I ended up making a little bit of a little sale. A little bit here, a little bit there. Sold a couple of Mother's Day items, and I wished I had more time to get more of those made, but unfortunately I did not, because if I had have had time to get more of those made, I probably would have sold a lot more. But sadly, it was I just didn't have time. It's the way it goes with crafting. Sometimes you have time to do a lot, and then sometimes you don't. I had a big order yesterday that I had to complete, so I didn't have time to really work on other things. And then getting up this morning, just really didn't have time to work on any special items. I did get a couple of them made, but that was about it. So, but that's the way it goes in the crafting world. And when you're trying to run a business, you're trying to get things set up, trying to do things, trying to make a little bit of money here and there. But it is what it is. Keep going. I can, of course, do special orders, so that's the good thing about it. And and I would rather, in the crafting world, and in doing this, honestly, I would rather get it to where, excuse me, where I can specialize in special orders, because in the long run, as a crafter, I can make more money that way, because I'm not using all of my materials up, and if I can focus on making special orders, then I don't have inventory that's just sitting there. And when inventory is just sitting there and not moving, you're not making any money. Had to wet the whistle there for a little bit, get a little bit of cold lemonade. But like I said, when you make inventory and you make up a group of items, or an inventory of items, and it just sits there, and it sits there, and it sits there, it might sell in a few days' time, or it might not. And that's just the way it goes. When you're doing things like this, that's the way it goes in really any retail world. So if you're looking at getting into something like this and then doing the crafting and selling crafts, you need to understand and be prepared to know that you might make up a inventory, a merchandise inventory for trying to sell, and you need to understand that merchandise may sit there. I mean, just take for example a small retail store. What they refer to as mom and pop shops, and they invest in inventory. They get material to stock their shelves with. They may try to put some little knickknacks in their store for people to purchase. The thing about that is, they might make money off of it, but at the same time, they might not. They may have those items to sit there for 2, 3, 4 weeks, maybe even 2, 3, 4 months before it sells. Now, if you are a licensed business, if you are running a full operational business, and you're not doing it as a hobby, and you're doing a full business to where you've got to do your tax paperwork and all this. As hobbyists, sometimes you might meet that tax bracket to have to do taxes. But when you're set up for a full retail business, you've got to set up and do your business information, your business licensing, your taxes, things like that. You can do some things. You're able to file a loss at the end of the year. on certain things, certain items, and it all ties in together. But you still have the fact that you invested in product, you've invested your time into stocking those shelves, and it just sits there. The same thing goes with a hobbyist, and you're doing things like this, and you're making crafts, and you might make 10 or 15 different craft items. There is the possibility that you have invested your time, you've invested your money into creating these products, and they might sit there for 1, 2, 3 weeks, maybe even as much as 1, 2, 3 months before it finally sells. And that's even if you're going and sitting at craft shows, or going to places like flea markets and sitting up. There's still that opportunity. I've done the flea market run. We did that when we started our retail business several years ago. We actually had a permanent booth at a flea market. It was a very busy flea market. We had some items that moved, while we had other items that did not. They sat there for a while before they would move. In fact, I still am carrying over inventory, overstock from our past things. It's stuff that we invested in. We paid for it. It's ours. It's here. It was a loss. So now I can pull it out of our storage and try to move it at a little bit of money off of it, $1 or $2. But those are things that sat in storage for 6, 7, 8 years or more. They sat there, and it was overstock. It was things, and we bought a large inventory of things, and then we ended up closing that business. And when we closed that business, we had, of course, the loss. We had all of this inventory that was there, and now it's basically yard sale stuff. And that's just it. That's the way it works when you're doing things like this. You work on ideas. So as a hobbyist, you really want to push special orders. You really want to push those custom orders, those personalized orders, things that you can make money on right then, right there. Because if you're making those pre-made items, you're using up your inventory of blanks, of wood, of shirts, or whatever you may have. You're using all of that up, and then it just sits there. And it's not saying that it'll never sell. I mean, I've had a couple of things that I've had for, a couple of weeks since I started doing this, and I just sold them this week. So, you may have it sitting there for 1 or 2 weeks or longer. But if you want to try to focus on making money, like I did this week, special orders is the way to go. Pushing those special orders, pushing those custom orders, pushing those personalized orders so that you can make money right then. It's not something that's sitting there. So if you're starting this, if you're wanting to get into this, even as a hobby run, look at ways to recoup your investment, to be able to bring that investment, to make money back off of that investment. I buy my blanks. I have my blanks, such as wood. I have my shirts. I have my vinyl and everything that I need. I have those items ready to go. I come up with an idea, and I may go lay it out, or I may actually make one item. And that's another thing. If you're going to make some things to display that you want to put out to show for sale, don't make a large number of them. Make one of each design. One of each design. You're going to invest some money into that, but eventually you will most likely sell it. It may sit there for a while, and if you're advertising it on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, whatever, if you're advertising, if you're showing those items that you've got made right there, then you can you'll say, hey, I have this item right here. Yes, I have one ready, but consider customization. Show it out. You have something ready, make it available. Say something about customizing it, adding a name to it, adding a date to it, adding a special quote to it, making it more personal, more special. Two things are going to happen. You still have that item that you made. Now, hear me out. You still have that item that you made, but you just upsold, because when you customize, when you make it special, you're adding personalization. That's more work involved in what you're having to do. Now you've got to go in. You may have that file saved of the work that you planned out, but now you've got to go into that file and you've got to add some things to it. You may even have to tweak the design a little bit to work that personalization, which means you can now upsell your item. So you can say, I have this item for X amount of money. If it's a small plaque or sign or whatever, $5, $10, ever what you got into it. And you've got to consider not just your materials, but your time as well. You've got to figure all of those costs. If you're having to drive to go pick up materials, you need to figure out how much are you spending in fuel to go purchase product items, and be able to add that in. And the best way to do that is by setting a set percentage on top of your materials. And you want to be able to try to make at least 100% profit. However, in the retail world, in reality, your markup, you're trying to make at least 150 to 200% increase. That allows you to make a full profit. You're getting your entire cost back, and then over that, you're making your profit. You've got to figure your time. If you spend 2 hours working on something and you've got $10 in material, 2 hours of time, and then you're selling it for $15, in all honesty, you've lost money. The minimum wage for most places, minimum wage is $7.15 an hour. So if you just spent 2 hours working on something, okay, figure in what that cost is. Let's just say $10 per hour for your time of sitting there. That's not a bad price to set. Just say your time is worth $10 per hour to work on this. Or your time is worth, if you want to be generous, your time is worth $5 per hour working on this. Okay, let's just say that. You've got an item that you've got $10 in material. You've got 2 hours working on it, and you put $15 on it. You've lost money because you didn't cover yourself for your time. So you need to figure that in. All right, now, you've got that item there sitting there. You might have a $10, $15 price tag on it, but now you can upsell it for an additional $5 for adding that a bit of personalization into it. And that is exactly how to do it. That's how to set it up, how to keep it going. So, all right, I hope I've inspired you to get out and do something. I hope I've inspired you to consider, moving into the hobby world of doing crafting, or even moving into a business setup of doing crafting. That's the whole point of doing these vlogs, to inspire others to try to do something, to be crafty, to be, to think outside the box of doing things, to, have fun with your work. And I've always said, if you don't like what you're doing, you're not going to last in it. If you don't, people question, why do people not last where they work at a certain place? So the thing about it is, not everyone is made for retail. Not everyone is made for fast food. Not everyone is made to be a crafter. Every person has their special abilities. Every person has their know-how, or their go-to, or their desire to do something. And if they are enjoying what they're doing, then they're going to last. Okay, I worked in fast food. I love to cook. I love working with people. So I was able to do it. I enjoyed it. I worked in the school system. I did all that when I was younger. Okay, and then, just 8 years ago, I worked in the school. So I take that back. about 6 years ago, I worked in the school system. Did it for 9 years because I love working with children. I love working in that type of work. And 9 years of doing that. And I miss it, but then things changed and I started going into my own business of doing my own type of work. And now we are where we're at today. So, again, I hope I've inspired you to do something. I hope I've inspired you to get out there and be creative, get out there and be crafty, and try something new, but have fun while you're doing it. Until next time, guys, this is Dennis Bates, the X-Crafter, saying, be crafty and have fun.